Y'all tune in to Real Life Street Stars and make sure you go get that app off of Google Play. Download it now.
Oh, pray for all the saints and all the sinners. Make sure you pray for yours, cause if you don't, you could be dinner. Judgment Day determines who is losers, who is winners in this power surge. If a nigga feel the urge, bust and reload, bitch, I done flipped and flip mode. Bustin' you hoes, we out of control. Try to be damn if I'm laying it down and take one from you hoes. These niggas want war, bringing it to your front door. What you gonna do when it's yours? We wildin' and spiraling out of control. Hard to tell who is real anymore. I'm not trusting them all.
Real Life Street Stars, man. We in here with Jay Catalyst, man. What's good?
What's going on, bro?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much, man. Glad to have you come through, man.
Likewise, man. I like y'all platform, man. This is my second time back.
Definitely, yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, even with that said, man, for those at home who don't know exactly who Jay Catalyst is, man, tell us about yourself, man. Where you from, and kind of what you do.
I'm originally born from Port Arthur, Texas, home of UGK.
Hey.
I
Long
grew
live
up
the
my
pimp.
younger years down there. Yeah, shout out to Pimp. Shout out to Bum. I grew up my younger years down there. Grew up my older years up here in Dallas. I travel back down there every once in a while. I still got family down there. Shout out to Diamond Mine Productions. And my family down there, they still doing their things and running over Port Arthur.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I grew up down there, and I ended up finishing high school up here. Moved around in the city a lot. So I was living in Irving for a while, from Irving to Euless, before I ended up in Arlington area. So I knew at an early age, I got the opportunity to learn how to meet different people. And it ended up extending my network across the board. Just, you know how some people are scared of moving around and getting to meet different people at times. So it worked out to my advantage because it made me more of a people person.
Yeah.
And not really afraid to just get out there and just socialize and network with people, because you never know who you meet.
Hell yeah. Man, the music scene in Port Arthur, man, growing up, man, does it take more from Louisiana, or did it take more from Texas as far as just the music culture out there? Or just worldwide as far as from what you noticed?
I mean, I would say more. I lived in Louisiana for a while too, you know, and I would say that Louisiana's music scene it differs from Texas music scene. Just the whole lifestyle alone in Louisiana differs from Texas, and they're as close to each other.
Yeah.
You know, I'm Cajun myself, so I got the best of both sides. But I would say that as far as the music scene of Port Arthur goes, it pulls a lot from, I would say, Texas in itself. It's definitely Texas rooted, but I wouldn't say so much as Louisiana. They cross paths sometimes, they network with each other, but I would definitely say that, especially in Port Arthur has their own sound and their own scene.
Yeah.
So I would definitely want to say that, you know, if you're gonna compare it to anything, it would definitely be Texas.
All right,
Texas.
Definitely. All right. Well, with that said, man, go and tell them it is. I know you definitely, do the music. But what else do you have your hands in with?
I do the music thing. I'm definitely a music artist myself. And then I created the brand called FRESHWORLD. Kicked it off about 5 years back. And because I was coming up in the age where, you know, right before Taylor Gang had popped, you know, you had Wiz Khalifa, and you saw he was promoting Taylor Gang. Taylor Gang was his thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I tried to do was always do my research on you know, the market itself and what makes people pop.
Yeah.
And back then I created a brand called Fly Rebels Envy Shall Hate. The acronym stood for Fresh. So FRESHWORLD became me and a bunch of other guys. We were grinding, moving together as a movement. And just over the course of time, it started to evolve. And now at this year, I say within the last 12 months, we started to transform into an actual company. Yeah. And we primarily focus on marketing and branding and building brands. Yeah. But the unique thing about what FRESHWORLD is the fact that we don't just focus on music. We're not just in the music industry. we like to focus on other aspects of entertainment. I've had the privilege to, build relationships with models, actors, radio hosts, and even cooking shows. That's something that we are working on in itself.
People sleeping on the cooking shows, man.
People, look, there's people. You got to understand the market that we're in. We're in a digital market.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest failure that an artist can make is to just allow themselves to just remain an artist. So I learned that early on enough. I caught on to it early on enough to say I don't want to just represent myself as just an artist. I want to be represented as a businessman, an individual who does more than just be an artist. Because I feel like being an artist in today's era, it limits you, and it kind of puts you a lot at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to being in position, being in control of your own decisions.
When did you think that tide started turning? Because back when rap first started, or when the culture rap first started back in the 80s, or it started building, it wasn't about the artist. It was just an artist being an artist. And, they used to look down on artists being too much or having their hands in too much. But now it's expected as an artist. You should be learning the business of the music industry and getting your hands into other things such as clothing, marketing, branding, even with Jay-Z, sports, and things like that. When did you think the tide started to turn in that arena?
I'd probably say right around 03. Yeah. 03, 04. You started to see things change with artistry. Like DJ Khaled for himself. Yeah. But I would say it really popped just in the past 3 years. Yeah. 3 to 4 years, I would say. Because you gotta realize we're in an era where everybody's trying to build a brand. Yeah. We that's what it is now. You have videographers, you have engineers who are building a brand themselves. They're not just behind the scenes anymore. They're not just the guy who's just working on your record and making your music. They're the ones who's actually making their name known for what they do. And that's the beauty of the market that we're in now. And it's really, really about to even grow even more tremendously. The problem is you have a lot of artists who have yet to catch on to that and realize.
Yeah, some artists really be like, man, I just rap.
Right.
I mean, that's.
Think about it. We're in a digital era, and CD sales are not big anymore. Yeah. You have a lot of artists who rely on that. They rely on the sales of their under their record label for survival, whether their deal could get dropped today or tomorrow. So I realized that early, and I said I wanted to position myself to be able to control my own moves. If I could build my own label, then why limit myself to not do so? So that way I can control what is distributed, what is considered success to me, to myself, and to my organization. We control that. And we create the supply and demand to the point that the bigger companies are going to have to come with a bigger offer. They're going to have to come with something, because when you go in as just an artist and no anything else, then your leverage is very, very low. Yeah. That's why they throw in 360 deals at you. That's why they're giving you a couple grand to say, okay, we're going to give you this advance. And I've talked with a lot of different individuals deeply behind the scenes to know that sometimes all you see is that advance. Yeah. Starting out. Very true. So, the artist today has to be a lot wiser how they operate than they have in the past. That's why I created an organization that focuses on that. FRESHWORLD is growing into an enterprise. And that's my projected plans for it. We got our hands in really every aspect of what is.
Seems like just entertainment in general, as far as just TV, radio, TV, magazines,
radio, and cooking.
Digital.
and cook.
Sleeping
I
on
like
that
to
cooking,
cook.
man. Yeah.
I like to cook.
What will be your go-to meal? You know what I'm saying? Let's say you got Thanksgiving dinner. Not even Thanksgiving, but just somebody's coming over. You got to cook that go-to meal that you cold at. What's your go-to?
A leg of lamb.
Oh man, bougie.
Or a leg of lamb or a Peking duck.
Man.
I broke away from tradition a couple years back, man. I was kind of over the turkey, so I started experimenting more with different dishes and stuff, and just putting my own twist on it. I like to cook different things: lobster, leg of lamb. One Christmas, I did an entire bucket of lobsters.
Man,
and
we need to invite us next Christmas, man.
look. You ask a lot of the artists, a lot of people in the city, man. When it comes, I could get somebody over with a meal. If they find out I'm cooking, we'll have a house full.
They pull it up, man. That's what's up, man. As far as just even your, growing up, as far as your idols in music, who were you looking up to music in the music industry? When did you yourself start doing the music and taking it serious?
I started right before 03.
Yeah.
I graduated in 03. I went to Lamar High School.
Shout out.
And I'd say my sophomore year, I started to get a taste of it and experimenting, because I was initially more focused on acting and modeling.
Yeah.
So I started to get a taste of it then, and coming out of my senior year, that's when I really started to understand that I had developed a talent for it, and not just in the sense of I know how to make music, but I can make records that people could really relate to. I've seen, a lot of different reactions to the music that I make. I've seen grown thugs. People really grinding out in these streets. When I was in Louisiana, I shared a song that just had a dude just break down in tears, right in front of me, and was tapped me on my shoulder, was like, I got chills from this. And it just made me realize, I had a lot more to offer than just being another guy out there making music.
Yeah.
So there was always an intention with what I did as an artist, because that was my way of venting. For me, it was a way of getting things off my chest that I wouldn't normally say, or really being topic of conversation with people and not really bring out, because you can be in a room full of people and everybody's trying to talk and tell about themselves and want you to see them, see me. And if everybody's trying to give, nobody's taking, and it's always a headbutting relationship in a room full of people that's trying to get you to see them.
Yeah.
So I learned to just kind of fall back and just observe from a distance. People want to hear about you when they're ready to know about you. And sometimes they're not ready to know about you until they get over themselves, or until you do something that catches their attention. And then it's like they could pass by you 3 or 4 times, meet you in the same room 8 or 9 times before they really want to get to know who you are.
Real talk. And with that said, as far as your style, who would you say Katie your style after, but what would you put if you were to label your style as far as in a market of music? Where would you put it at?
Unlabeled.
Unlabeled. That's what's up.
Yeah, unlabeled. I have a motto. I say I am unlabeled, because I do all different various styles of music. Going back to your earlier question about who I listen to.
Yeah.
I listen to all different kinds of music. I grew up on rock. I grew up on System of a Down, Linkin Park. I grew up on Ludacris, Outkast, Mos Def, Talib Kweli. In my later years after high school, I really, really started to get into Common, more Jay-Z, Nas, a lot more of the lyrical artists. But I've, and as well as pop. You know what I'm saying? I listen to. I'm not even ashamed to admit it. Back when I was growing up, I listened to some of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera's records.
Real shit.
Backstreet Boys, they were one of my favorite pop groups. Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. I grew up on all of that.
Real shit.
And so, as an artist, which is another reason why I started to, design my own lane. When I was first starting out, it was hard for people to understand how to work with someone as diverse. They told me that one of the things that you shouldn't mention is you're very universal and very versatile.
Yeah.
Because you need to pick a lane. And in the early stages of my career, I tried to work on that, but when you are who you are, it's kind of hard to hide that. And I like to make what I like to make. I like to do what I like to do and give diversity. Mainly because of the fact, especially today, is because of the fact that everybody's trying to put you in a box. Everybody wants you to do this or do that.
Yeah.
So being in such a digital era where you can make yourself hot by with a camera and going on YouTube and create your own audience and get people to buy into what you're doing, and then get these labels to want to buy into what you're doing because everybody else is buying into what you're doing. And it's like, you're going to have to pay me for being who I am if you want to work with me. Otherwise, I don't need your platform.
Yeah. Man, I would say, you have, the look of an artist. A lot of cats will come in not knowing as far as, not say how to dress, but how to tailor themselves as what they're trying to sell, to sell themselves, to look the part. From every time that I've seen you, every time I met you, you have that look of an artist that goodness said that qua, whatever they call it, you know what I'm saying? So where do you get that from? Yeah, that aura. Yeah, where do you get that from as far as just being able to either tailor yourself, dressing the part, looking the part? Was that something before rap that you learned in school, or was it something that you just kind of started gearing towards?
I was my parents grew me. They groomed me into fashion. When I was in high school, I was always wearing. I always had the nice outfits. You know what I'm saying? The coordinated, attire. I was always very fashionable growing up through high school. My parents, they kept me, in very nice things when they could. So it's something that stuck with me. At the same time, I've always just knew I was a different type of person from the average. From the average styles. So I never really was interested in being on the trend.
So like when tall tees was hot, you never put on a tall tee?
No. No, but I did have extra large shirts. I did have baggier jeans. This is coming out of Louisiana, actually.
Throwbacks was hot back then, man. Throwbacks was
you know what I'm saying? Like I had that, I had my phase with that. But over time, I just evolved because the type of person that I consider myself to be is I'd say a very, an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a time for that. There's a phase for that. But in my mind, in my eyes, eventually you gotta grow up. Not everybody do, but I just did, and I grew up at an earlier age. So I've always looked at the styles of high fashion.
Yeah, do you have any high fashion icons that you kind of looked at and kind of like, I like this designer or this?
Tom Ford.
Yeah,
I think Tom Ford does an excellent job with his wardrobe. Versace.
Yeah,
I like some of their things. But you know what though? I'll tell you, even through the high end fashion, looking at a lot of those things, I could go to Target and find something nice and to break out in, and you wouldn't even know, that it's not expensive. Because I'm also a realist as well. So I can create my own style. I can create my own fashion sense without having to go and spend thousands of dollars that people do, because at the end of the day, what you really paying for is a label. You can get I look at Kanye's, clothing, and it's nice. He's doing a great job with his brand.
He was trying to bring skirts more into the forefront of men fashion. Is that daring
for
to be
who?
For
men or women?
For men. Is that daring to be different, or is that something that is you see because people are actually buying it? You see that's kind of where this culture is going. Like, you know,
skirts into fashion. I think when you have a name, I look at it 2 ways. You have a brand name, and then you have a product. 2 people can sell the same product, but one has a higher brand name.
Yeah,
it's about that. It's about in people's minds what they consider to be important to them. I think that's really what it comes down to, because I can take the same clothes that Kanye is selling and go get it from a wholesaler, whether here off of Harry Hines or in China, upsell the charge and get you to buy into it. Yeah. Build a brand around it and get you to buy into it.
Real tough.
Same thing. You know, so that's why it really, our generation has got stuck on that. It's about impressing everyone. And that's another thing, you know, that's the thing about me, you know, I'm just at an age where I don't buy in trying to, you know, over accentuate to impress people anymore. You just be who you are and allow people to buy into you.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know, to each his own.
That's real, man. Well, definitely to touch back on the music, you had the I Am project, you know, since that dropped. Tell us about that project. Tell us about some of the songs that you did, the producers you work with, the artists you work with.
I worked with Diamond Style Production. I'm very into the unique production when it comes to my sound and when it comes to my projects. I don't like particularly staying with the this is the accepted sound. This is what's hot right now. I love trap sound music, but you're not gonna get a whole boatload of trap music from me.
Yeah.
I like to dabble in it. I like experimenting, but I like guitar. I like, you know, different sounds that take you on a journey and take you somewhere out of just the average thing that everybody's listening to. But as far as like the artists that I had worked with, I had, you know, of course I had, you know, different family members within my Fresh World family that was a part of that. Tiffany Bell, Jimmy Dawson. We had some other special guests that was on that project. I had Platinum Minds.
Yeah.
We did a record together called My City Bangs. If you get a chance, check that out. You know, that was something that we kind of focused on around, I'd say, Dallas. You know, it was an ode to Dallas. Just paying homage to the city. And it was a really booming record. It's something that we're still working with. I might end up shooting a video for that next summer.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't believe music. I like to focus on making timeless music. I don't like to put too much of a timestamp on things and limit it to just the now market.
Right. Yeah. This quarter.
Platinum Minds was on the record. I had the pleasure to work with Ace Mitch, who was another guy. Shout out to Ace Mitch. He went out to Cali. He moved to Cali close to the end of last year to go build a network out there. We did a record called Rock and Roll. Terrence Lindsay, I had him featured on a record. Bruce, and then some other local artists that's within my organization. We did some things too. Royal Jew and Ray Will. You know, there were some other characters that was part of, you know, that project. Just different individuals. And Jay Harm. Yeah. If you had the chance to meet him, got to bring his sound. Actually, I did a lot of things with, quite a few things with Jay Harm on that record, on that album. Closet Freak was a really good record.
That thing, jam.
Closet Freak
jam, yeah. For the ladies out there. Go get that Closet Freak. Man.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk with them too, because we still do to put a visual out for that.
Yeah,
so
definitely
Closet Freak, All In, we did that record. Shout out to Cristal, she featured on the record as well. Just spread across the board. Oh, and most importantly, one of the most important figures who was a part of that project was Spaceship Oasis, who did the narration throughout the entire record, which was kind of a last minute thing. That's what made the record so unique, was because of the fact that it got a chance for me to really put the point out there about being diverse.
Yeah.
with I Am. That's what it stood for. I Am was the prelude to Unlabeled,
Yeah.
which is still due to come out, which goes back into I Am Unlabeled.
Right.
But he came through at the last minute. It was just a last minute idea, and he came through, and just everything that he did from the transition of those records, if you get to listen to it from beginning to end, really sets you up for what I am bringing as an artist to the market. I wanted to put something in to not just this market, but to the entire entertainment market, a different sound and just a whole different appeal of an artist,
Right.
as a whole, who just doesn't bite on and buy into the traditionals.
Yeah, just even the fact that you had, like you said, a narration. Most cats, they try to get a DJ to, shout on their records. What I'm saying, just to have somebody narrating it is already breaking out the norm. I mean, different in itself. With that being said, Real Life Productions had the opportunity to go film your send-off party. You were having a send-off party. It was hosted and interviews done by Good Girls Bad Thoughts. Had a lot of the cats you mentioned there performing at the RBC downtown Dallas. Tell us about that, the send-off party itself, and tell us about where you're going and why.
So the send-off party was kind of a last-minute idea. I was in the process of relocating to New York City. A lot of things just aligned in my favor and my family's favor. And it was an opportunity to really go and expand in a different market. Yeah. I have such a deep-rooted foundation that is established here and is continuing to grow within my Fresh World family. I have a lot of things that are going to, pop off in 2017. But getting the opportunity to relocate and move around to such a market like New York City has really granted me an opportunity to really advance in the forefront, to kick down some bigger doors. I'm looking to work with new individuals, new producers, new artists, and most importantly, start to, talk with a lot of different, organizations that have been doing their thing in the city for so long, different labels and stuff like that, and see if I can find ways to bridge the gap between what's going on up there and not only just what's going on down here, but, even further towards the other different markets that we would like to expand beyond 2017.
Bet.
But the send-off party, it was, like I said, it was a last-minute thing. I tend to be reserved sometimes. I don't put too much of my business out there. And sometimes I don't, you might not see me on social media as much. I'm kind of more of a quiet, reserved thing unless it's time to promote, something that's actually going on or something in my organization. But a lot of people were like, no, you can't just leave without doing something to commemorate, your time being here. So shout out to, you guys, Real Life. Y'all came through and captured the entire thing, and that was a beautiful thing too. That was another last minute moment, but it worked out so well. Good Girl Bad Thoughts. Shout out to my little brother Chaos, who initially introduced me to Good Girl Bad Thoughts. We're looking to do some things further with them in 2017, and just gave me an opportunity to just bring everybody together that had been working with for so long, and get them to be in the same room and rub shoulders with each other.
Yeah, we need more events like that, man. As far as just showcases,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have showcases out here, but as far as just on an everyday basis, I've been to the RBC a few times, and I've been to beat battles there. And I just love to see things like that on a weekend to weekend basis, because sometimes it takes a while for other people to catch on.
Right.
So definitely just salute you, having that, go down.
Thank you. I try to play my part. I think DJ Khaled does a great job with that. Whether the artists realize it or not, it's bridging the gap. He's bringing people together through music. And that's how I looked at it the same sense. I see talent. I'm not a selfish person.
Right.
So if I see talented individuals that need to cross paths, I use myself as an artist to bring that together. That, you know, being able to be who I am and the type of person that I am within this industry, just it gives that personification that if I'm reaching out to you to do something, it's going to be worthwhile. It's going to be something worth, you know, being a part of.
Real talk.
And so a lot of I've had the pleasure to see a lot of new relationships come together over the past many years, just off the strength of bringing them in the same room or bringing them together on the same project or bringing them together in the same show. You know, when I've done my shows and stuff like that, and I'll bring these different artists together in the same room. And, you know, sometimes, you know, they may not realize it or not at the time that what's really happening is creating a movement for the city itself, you know, within the Metroplex, within the DFW Metroplex. You know, sometimes you got to just guide people in the direction of, hey, you know, they might not see the big picture, but bring them together on this record or in this manner or on this situation and allow things to naturally happen and take place.
Real talk, real talk.
So,
man, I was gonna say you're about to head to New York too, man. But you also are part of the Master of the Mic, man.
I am.
You were the finalist. I think you were for others.
Yeah.
How's that as far as getting to that level of Master of the Mic, and just tell us about that process.
Being a part of that, being a part of Masters of the Mic was, for me personally, it became a solidification of what I've been doing all this time was on the right path.
Yeah.
That's what it became for me, just to make it that far and to, you know, be so considered in 27 going into 2017 when the finals is going to, you know, kick off, being considered to be worth being a part of that platform. I think it shines a lot of light on the talent that's going on in this city, you know, within the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I see the beauty of the platform and the potential of it getting even bigger.
Yeah, we're in year 2 of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Alsace Carcion, who won it last year, you know, and you know, if you're in the city, if you're in the DFW Metroplex and you don't know who that is, that's right there is a prime example of why more things need to happen that need to bring more people together in the same room. Because you're surrounded by a lot of talented art individuals. You may not even realize the extensive resumes of the things that some people around you have done, you know, and been a part of. But for me, you know, it's a pleasure to be a part of that platform. I think if I do win it, it's gonna give me the moment to scream loud why I do what I do.
Yeah. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Man, I was gonna say, I know you're gonna go up there and do big things in New York, man, and you're definitely gonna bridge the gap between, you know, the North and the South, man. Do you have any shout outs you want to give, man? I know the Fresh World family.
Yeah. Shout out to my lady, Fly Baby of the Fresh. Follow her. Anytime you hear that Make It Fresh tag, that's her. She takes care of a lot of the business behind the entire organization of Fresh World. Shout out to my entire Fresh World family. People that you need to be familiar with. You need to get familiar with DJ Icy. Get familiar with Chaos. Get familiar with one of our young model / actors / comedians, DeAndre Carlito Giuliano. He's playing in some different movies, independent projects that he's diving into right now. We also got some social media new social media platforms that we're gonna work on. He's starting to shoot meme vlogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As well as just, you know, shout out to the DFW Metroplex in itself for always making me feel at home.
Yeah.
You know, when I first moved back from Louisiana, I didn't know where to start. This is like back in, I say 2007, 2008. Didn't know where to go from there because I was moving around a lot, and it took me a minute to find my way into it. Which I started, believe it or not, if you didn't know, I started in the spoken word world. I started around a lot of poets, a lot of known name poets within the Metroplex, and then started to slowly find my way deeper into the music industry. So for me, I gotta pay homage to DFW because I've done so much within this market, and they've always made me feel at home. They've always had, it's always been a place for me to be able to let my talent and my artwork shine, and be as eccentric and crazy in the way that I do things, and unorthodox in the way that I do things than a normal average artist.
Real tough.
They do show me a lot of love towards that aspect. So big thank you. I want to thank the city for that. Shout out to Abebe and Kiki J. Shout out to everyone who's been a part of my life and my career.
Definitely, man. And tell them where to get at you, man, as far as how to find you on social media.
Right now, you can track me. You can find me on Facebook at J.Catalyst, my artist page. You can go to Instagram, find me at JCatalyst, at JCatalyst Official. You can also follow my organization at FRESHWORLD Official. Facebook, you can find our page, FRESHWORLD at f.r.e.s.h. Follow us there. We're updating you on a lot of different events that we have coming up, new records that are being released. Shout out to Chaos for the release of his new record, Creed. Shout out to DJ Icy for the release of his record, Godflow. And yeah, I just say stay tuned in with us. We're trying to do some very ground defining things for 2017 that a lot of people may not be accustomed to seeing, but we have a lot to offer, as a whole within the organization for what we're trying to accomplish that will reflect highly for just the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex alone, as well as my hometown. Shout out to my hometown, Port Arthur, Texas. Shout out to Diamond Mine Productions. I say that I'm Port Arthur homegrown and DFW's very own. So shout out to y'all.
Bet. Man, we're gonna be looking at you for doing big things out there in NY, man. Fresh World, man. Y'all make sure y'all follow the movement, follow the brand, get at my man as far as the music, as far as the branding, as far as marketing. This is kind of where it's at, man. So we definitely appreciate you coming through, Jay, man. Definitely, man. You are a real life street star.
No, yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me, bro.
Hey.
Shout out to Real Life.
Y'all tune in to Real Life Street Stars and make sure you go get that app off of Google Play. Download it now.